Welcome to the Necklace 11 X12 technology. Today I'm showing you my personal Intel Rig 2012 update number 2. At first I'd like to thank you all for your really honest opinions on a previous build. We are now looking at Nightcrawler version 2.1, not 1.1 anymore. A lot of you suggested me getting a newer, better and larger case for cable management and beauty overall. Then you also suggested me getting a modular power supply to decrease the unused cable count in my case so there wouldn't be as much cable clutter anymore, and someone even told me to upgrade my graphics card to a GTX 670 or so. Right off the bat I can tell you it's a major upgrade I did, nothing small. Actually, because many of you told me to get a new case, which is very understandable, I got myself a new case. Yes, I've already thought of such an upgrade several months before, but I didn't think I would do it this year. But since so many people helped me with the decision, there you go, I got a new case. It's the Thermaltake Armor Revo, the black version, not the white one. So yeah, here is Nightcrawler version 2.1. Again, this is the Thermaltake Armor Revo full tower case, and this obviously is the black version. On the outside, the case alone looks very strong, at least in my eyes, and this computer case actually is fairly high due to the feet on the bottom. That's good for the PSU. Now this is the case from the other side. Even this side panel looks pretty good, and I don't know if you like that, but these two metal wings look great. It makes the case look even more special, and I love the brushed metal effect. Now when I turn on the system, this is how the case looks on the outside. Of course I have all the lights on, and so you can't see the LEDs that good here, but don't worry, I will show you how it looks like in the dark in a minute or two. Of course on this case you also get the option to turn on and off the fan LEDs, so you have the choice. When we move more to the left you can see the upper components like the CPU cooler, memory and a little bit of the graphics card. Unfortunately, Thermaltake didn't decide to go with a full side panel window, but they sacrificed the beauty for cooling performance. As you can see below the window there's a huge fan, a 200mm fan to be exact, and it comes with a dust filter. I like that. Alright, with the side panel removed you can now see the inside of my system. I'll just pan around so you can see the different zones of it, and I have to say I really gave my best in terms of cable management, and it turned out to work flawlessly with this case. I managed to hide most of the cables. As you can see it's really clean and tidy, although I have a non-modular power supply, keep that in mind. I managed to hide lots of unused cables at the back of the case, or should I say behind the other side panel. If you didn't already notice it, there's no ATX 12V 8-pin power connector coming through under the GPU. No, I managed to route it through the back with the help of Thermaltake's included extension cable. But I have to admit this wasn't very easy because the hole wasn't very big. Of course this wouldn't be that hard anymore if the CPU cooler was smaller, but it's okay. I also managed to route the thick 24-pin power connector through the back and then through the rubber grommet here. And this was my old problem zone here, the SATA connections on the right. With the Cooler Master Storm Scout case I hardly had any space here, but with this case, no problem. I could easily hide them away and make the connections without any risks of damaging the SATA ports, not like before by forcing the connections in, not straight. Underneath, near the power supply area, I had a big cable clutter going on, but now it's all clean and routed through this rubber grommet. Of course this cable, the front panel HD audio cable, can't be hidden that good, but it's okay in my eyes. Previously I couldn't even connect that cable because the system would have looked even worse than with an additional unhidden cable. So yeah, I'm really satisfied with this case, but now I'd like to show you the options on the top. Here are the power and reset buttons, the standard connections, but now also including two USB 3.0 ports, the fan LED button and the low and high fan RPM buttons. The top fan mounting options are pretty good too, but right now I'm going with the default fan setup. This one is a Thermaltake 200mm blue LED fan, and the color is really bright. In the front there also is another Thermaltake 200mm blue LED fan, and this is the intake fan. So basically it will cool down all the HDDs and the one SSD I have installed. The warm air will be exhausted either by the top 200mm fan or the black rear 140mm black high performance fan. To cool down the CPU I'm using the Cooler Master V6 GT, and it's really good in terms of performance. It sucks air through the aluminum fins with this 120mm fan and pulls out the warm air with another 120mm fan. As you know, the V6 GT allows you to change the LED color stripe here by pressing the button up there. I could go with pink, nothing, red or blue, which fits my color scheme best of course. Underneath the CPU cooler is the Intel Core i7-3770K CPU that is running on stock speeds, but I could overclock it if I wanted to, but right now the performance is more than enough. As for the memory, I have an ADATA XPG G Series version 2.0 8GB DDR3-2000 CL9 kit installed, and I'm really satisfied with the performance of these modules and the looks. I'm still using the PowerColor Radeon HD 7850 2GB GDDR5 graphics card, and I don't think I will upgrade it this year. I will probably do that when AMD releases their next generation Radeon HD 8000 series cards, and who knows, maybe I will go with the reference design again, or will just go with a different version that fits my color scheme better. But I really don't know yet, but as you may know, I love the reference design cards. It doesn't matter if it's AMD or Nvidia, both look great. I also have an ASUS Xonar DX 7.1 PCI Express sound card installed, and I really like it. The playback and recording quality is amazing compared to an onboard audio chip. And because this case allows me to hide the front panel HD audio cable, I decided to plug it into the card so I could use the front audio jacks if I wanted to. This here is just a standard USB 2.0 and eSATA extension, nothing too fancy here. I also tried hiding the cables as good as I could. To power up all the components, I'm using the Corsair TX850V2 power supply, which really is more than enough for my system, but it's always a good idea to have extra headroom for components that need more power. The cables are hidden very well, although this isn't a modular PSU, keep that in mind. Even the SATA and USB 3.0 cables are hidden very well and go through this rubber grommet to the back of the case. For the first time I could also route the 24-pin power connector through the back, and this one looks great. And the DVD drive cables were not a problem at all, of course. Now to the storage. I have one SSD installed in this machine, which would be the Corsair Force 3 120GB, and on there is the OS. Unfortunately you can't see the drive very well, but I don't want to pull it out completely because I will disconnect cables then. Some base below I have my Western Digital Caviar Black 1TB drive for programs and data, and even further below the Western Digital Caviar Green 500GB drive for data as well, but mostly video files for my reviews. And I also shouldn't forget to mention that all the components are connected to and installed in the MSI C77A-GD65 motherboard, which is a truly excellent board. As for the back, here are 3 large water cooling holes for tubing, which you don't use. Here's the I/O, the exhaust fan, more connections, ventilation holes, and the PSU. I also shouldn't forget to show you the cable management on the other side with the side panel off. It's really messy, but it's supposed to be like that because the cables need to be hidden somewhere, and I don't know what you think about it, but I think I did it not too bad. I even tied some cables onto the case so I could still close the side panel. The front looks very cool too with that awesome logo here, and there's something special with it, but I'll show you that in a moment. For the DVD drive I went with the standard light-on drive, and it looks pretty good compared to the previous Samsung drive like a year ago. And again, these metal wings look and feel great. Below you can see the blue LED light coming through, and that looks cool too, and so does this metallic Thermaltake logo. Here's my system in the dark, well, not extremely dark, but just dark. And there we go, this is what I was talking about before. This logo is lit up blue and it fades in and out. This makes the case look even more special than it already did before. Overall, the upper part of my system is lit up very well because of the large blue LED fan on the top. I personally really like the looks of my system. Here's the front fan and the top fan. That's how the system looks like when the side panel is on. It looks great too, and the light is coming through very well with that window. I like that. And now my system running in the night when it's completely dark. This is how it looks like. It's really bright when looking through the side panel window. That's it. What do you think of Nightcrawler version 2.1? Do you think it was a good step to replace my old Cooler Master Storm Scout case? What do you think of the overall looks of this system? If it was you, what would you upgrade or change next in my case? How's the cable management? Please let me know what you think. Oh, and the review of the Thermaltake Armor Revo case will be up soon, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe.